All right, we're going to call the June 26th meeting to order. Roll call.
Mr. Smith here, Mr. Beckler here, Mr. Murray,
Here.
Mr. Miller here, Mrs. Keeper.
Here. At this time, Mr. Murray is going to be on Zoom. However, he won't be able to vote on any action items, but he will be able to join discussion. So just so everybody knows. We'll start with the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, at this time, is there any board members who desire to add, delete, or separate any items of the consent agenda as proposed? No. All right, I need a motion to approve the meeting agenda as presented for the regular board meeting on June 26th, 2023.
So moved. Support.
Thank you. Roll call.
Mr. Smith? Yes. Mr. Beckler? Yes. Mr. Miller? Yes. Mrs. Keeper.
Yes, motion carried. I need a motion at this time to approve the minutes of the regular board meeting held on May 15th of 2023.
So moved. Support.
Roll call.
Mr. Smith? Yes. Mr. Beckler? Yeah. Mr. Miller? Yes. Mrs. Keeper.
Yes, motion carried. At this time, is there any board members with correspondence? Mr. Carroll? Mr. Kamola?
I received notice of resignation from Nancy Fortner and Ellen Criswell. Have a number of guests with us today. I'd like to welcome you all to our meeting. If you want to quickly just state your name.
My name is Tom Polishek and I hope to be approved.
I'm Lexi Wright, I don't want to talk this.
Brett Miller. Tony Doble.
Christy Schmidlin,
Lucas Bertholden.
Boris Swinford,
Brady Roofer.
Sherry Brown,
Ryan Hansel.
Amber Hansel, Victoria Gothier,
Bryce Bailey.
Kathy Daly,
Austin Kelly.
Darcy Vega,
RJ Lumberzer.
Tanya Elizabeth, Becky Labor, Amber Doble, Shannon Lowe, Chelsea Turnbull, Kate Ashton Filter, Gloria, Nicole Ziegler, Viviana Diaz,
Eric Hughes.
Renee Frederick, Renee Patrick,
Thank you. At this time, we do have one petition to address the board. Mrs. Lumberzer, you are ready? You're in there?
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you for your time, RJ Lumberzer. Anything else?
No.
Okay. We're here tonight to ask for reimbursement of some money that we spent for the seniors this year. And generally there was a discussion between my wife and Nora, and Nora did mention that there's an approval process. We misunderstood it and thought that it was gonna be okay after the fact, considering there's only 3 days left till the school was over. But we weren't aware of the money that the kids wanted to spend on them, we wanted to spend for the kids. And so there's 2 receipts that we spent money on that were, one was for the buns and the cheese for the hamburgers and stuff that I think was already, somebody already said they would pay for, I believe. And then the rest of it was for, just for the bag that they stuff, it's got different candies and drinks and stuff that they give to all the seniors on their last day. And so, like I said, it was misunderstanding on our part on the procedure. They wanted to spend the money on the kids from their account. Want to take any questions?
Any board questions? Zach, do you have any questions?
Nothing for me, Nora. Thank you.
All right.
Is there a PO?
Well, it wasn't done ahead of time. It was our misunderstanding. We were just supposed to do it and then turn the receipts in for approval and get paid. And so it wasn't done ahead of time. That probably a violation of the procedure. And so, but there's over $500 here that was stuff that was going to come out of the students' account for that we did for them. If you have the amounts, I could. The cheese and the buns received from Meyer was $84.43. And then the remainder was, like I said, body armor and some trail mix and some other things. They did a bag for them, and that was a total of $441.91 4/14/91, I apologize.
Any further questions for Mr. Lumberger? And
I don't have any at this time.
we do have a motion on the agenda, so if we get to that, and there's any questions.
Okay,
We
thank
can
you.
direct anything to you if there are any questions.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, at this time, Mr. Carroll. Oh, I'm sorry, we had a second one, but we have scratched that one from the agenda, so we're just gonna move into the financial agenda. Mr. Carroll, would you like to go over your financial reports?
Thank you, Mrs. Hoover. Packet of financials that you see, this is our May financials that we are approving. First page you'll see is our cash reconciliation. That is showing that our accounts balance with the bank. We have our financial summary by funds. This is how our funds are currently appropriated. The next one is our disbursement summary. These are the checks that we have issued during the month of May. We have our cash summary. This is the fund balances, any encumbrances that we have in all of the funds. First graph you see is a general fund graph. This compares year to date and last year with this current year to date, according to the forecast that we just approved last month. So we are 92% of the way through the fiscal year. Again, this is at the end of May. So we are 92% of the way through the fiscal year. Everything is on track right now. And the last page you see is a breakdown of our payroll benefits. Again, at 92% of the way through the year, we are at 90% on our payroll budgets and 89% on our benefits budget. A couple other items you'll see on the financial consent agenda. We have a donation, we have final appropriations. We have a couple appropriation modifications. This is just tweaking the appropriations for each fund. We have setting temporary appropriations for next fiscal year. This allows us to get started for the year before we lock them in September. We have received our figures for grants for next year, so we are asking that you approve those. And then our petty cash accounts for athletics and each building if they wish to have the petty cash account. So those are the items on the financial consent agenda.
Any questions for Mr. Carroll? All right. So at this time, I will need a motion to approve those financial reports that we just reviewed with Mr. Carroll, as well as accept the following donations of $100 anonymous donation to the Student Assistance Fund, to approve amended resources for the fiscal year ended June 30th, 2023. We need to approve the following appropriations modifications for the fiscal year ended June 30th of 2023, and to authorize the treasurer to carry over any outstanding encumbrances as of June 30th of 2023, an increase the SOS grant for $555.48, increased scholarship $2,257.81, an increase to food service for $138,947.39, increase the general fund to $240,562.88, and a decrease the bond of $97.31. We need to approve temporary appropriations for the fiscal year ending June 30th of 24 at 75% of the fiscal year of 23 actual expenditures. We need to approve the following grants and modify appropriations and amend resources accordingly. The Stronger Connections for $5,000, Title I, $139,019.45. Title II-A, $29,259.49. Title IV, $10,000. IDEA-B, $289,959.11, and teen pregnancy grant for $10,700. We also need to approve the following petty cash and change funds for the 2023-2024 school year. Athletic petty cash there for $4,500. Central office petty cash $50. Office petty cash per school building of $50, as well as athletic change fund of $3,000. So at this time, I just need a motion to approve the financial reports and other financial items.
Move.
Support.
Questions or discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Smith? Yes. Mr. Backlitt? Yes. Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mrs. Kiefer?
Yes, motion carries. At this time, we'll move on to the personnel. We need a motion to accept the resignations of Nancy Fortner, intervention specialist, effective August 4th, 2023. Mrs. Ellen Krzyzewski, elementary teacher, effective September 22nd of 2023 for the purpose of retirement. We need to offer the following teachers 1-year limited teaching contract effective with the start of the 2023-2024 school year. Bryce Bailey, elementary teacher, Amber Hansel, elementary teacher, Marty Nichols, middle school teacher, Tom Kolachik, elementary teacher, Jessica Reinhardt, preschool teacher, Jennifer Hoffman, high school teacher, Danielle Boger, an elementary teacher. We also need to offer the following teachers a continuing teaching contract effective with the start of the 23-24 school year, Stacy Wise. You need to offer the following individuals a 1-year limited non-teaching, non-bargaining unit contract commencing on July 1st and ending June 30th of 2024. John Eckenberger, the technology coordinator. We need to offer the following non-teaching 1-year limited contract effective to the start of the 2023-2024 school year. Victoria Gautier, Charlotte Siegert, and Jeffrey Duxey. We also need to rescind and approve a supplemental contract and volunteers for 2023-2024. Brian Leahy, we're going to rescind for freshman boys basketball. Shane Chamberlain, rescind girls basketball. Dan Hilton, rescind football. Assistant coach Chandler Lumbreather is rescinding girls basketball freshman. Elaine Fields, rescind girls basketball freshman. Chandler Lumbreather, girls basketball varsity. Elaine Fields will then be girls basketball varsity assistant coach. Dan Hilton, football assistant coach volunteer. Alex Lutheran, 7th, 8th grade football coach. Austin Lumbreather, girls basketball assistant coach volunteer. Dustin Udick, freshman boys basketball coach. We need to offer the following supplemental contract for 2023-2024, pending the completion of any and all certifications and our licensure requirements for Sharon Lipinski, elementary building leadership team. To approve the following teachers to provide summer school instructions on an as-need hourly basis for the negotiated agreement: Katrina Specht, Karen Rignes, Caitlin Esch, Shannon Swartz, and Angela Reiner. We also need to approve the following additional extended days for 2023-2024 school year for Sherry Call, preschool evaluation and reporting of 2 days. We need to approve the July 31st, 2023 resignation date for Angela Infante, technology director. We need to approve the following high school and middle school paid and volunteer event workers for the 2023-2024 school year, and to set the compensation for certain athletic event positions to be paid for by the athletic fund. I'm not going to read through all of those for you, but I'll give you a second to approve volunteers and paid workers, as well as paid positions if volunteers are not available. We also need to approve a $200 stipend to the following staff members for completing youth mental health first aid training. Payments will be made using student wellness and success funds. Again, I'm not going to read through that list. Give you a moment. At this time, I just need a motion to approve the above listed personnel positions.
Support.
Questions or discussion? All right, roll call.
Mr. Smith? Yes. Mr. Bachelor?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Keeper?
Yes, motion carries. At this time, we need a motion to approve the Marty Nichols 7th, 8th grade football coach pending the completion of all pupil activity permit requirements.
Move. Support.
All right, questions or discussion? All right, roll call.
Mr. Smith?
No.
Mr. Bachelor?
Yeah.
Mr. Miller?
Yeah.
Mrs. Keeper?
Yes, motion carries. At this time, I am not going to read the whole income tax levy. I will skip down. We need a resolution declaring it necessary to renew a school district income tax and requesting certification of alternative tax rates. That's revised code 5748.02. We're going to skip down to the third whereas. Whereas a resolution declaring the necessity to raise additional school district revenue must be adopted and certified to the tax commissioner for the state of Michigan to permit the Board of Education to consider the renewal of an income tax and to preserve the right to submit the question of levying such a renewal income tax to the electors of the school district at the election to be held on November 7th, 2023. It has been found and determined that all formal action of the Board of Education concerning it related to the adoption of this resolution was adopted in an open meeting of this board, and all deliberations of this board that resulted in such formal actions were adopted in meetings open to the public in compliance with all applicable requirements of Ohio Revised Code. Just need a motion to approve that resolution.
Support.
Question or discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Smith? Yes. Mr. Vaculum?
Yes.
Mr. Miller? Yes. Mrs. Keefe?
Yes, motion carries. This time we need a motion to set the following breakfast and lunch prices for the 2023-2024 school year. Prices represent a 10-cent increase from the 22-23 school year.
So moved. Support.
Questions or discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Vaculum?
Yeah.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mrs. Keefe?
Yes, motion carries. We need a motion to accept the educational agreement with the Northwest Ohio Juvenile Detention Training and Rehabilitation Center for educational purposes for students during any period of detention at a cost of $77 per day of instruction, effective July 1st of 2023 through June 30th of 2024. Just a side note that this is the same cost as last year.
So moved. Support.
Questions or discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Vaculum?
Yeah.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mrs. Keefe?
Yes, motion carries. This time we need a motion to approve student handbooks, district MTSS handbook, a high school curriculum guide as recommended by the administrators at the high school, middle school, elementary school, and preschool, as well as the following student fee schedule as recommended for the 23-24 school year. Grades 9 through 12 will be billed for individual courses with a maximum course fee charge of $150, which is the same as last year for academic year. Any high school activity fee, class fee, administrative fee, and or co-curricular fee will be in addition to the maximum course fee, and you can see those there.
So moved. Support.
Questions or discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Vaculum?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mrs. Keefe?
Yes, motion carries. This time we need a motion to approve the staff handbook for the 23-24 school year in the Evergreen Board of Education, expected behaviors for employees.
Moved. Support.
Questions or discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Vaculum?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mrs. Keefe?
Yes, motion carries. We need a motion to authorize the treasurer to pay the 2023-2024 Northwest Ohio Computer Association membership and EMIS fees of $42,234.88. Last year was slightly under that. And to approve the technical service agreement authorizing the purchase of IEP Anywhere software, Zoom licenses, content filtering, and state software for a total cost of approximately $4,500 based on the current ADM and licensing.
So moved. Support.
Questions or discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Vaculum?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mrs. Keefe?
Yes, motion carries. We need a motion to authorize the superintendent and treasurer to accept the best bid from Cardinal Bus Sales and Services in Lima, Ohio, and to purchase two 72-passenger diesel-powered buses at the cost of $237,130, which is $118,565 each.
So moved. Support.
Questions or discussion?
We traded any in or we just?
Typically in the past, we traded 2 in for every 2 purchases. We don't have that value yet, but.
Roll call.
Mr. Smith? Yes. Mr. Vaculum?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mrs. Keefe?
Yes, motion carries. We need a motion to approve a one-year contract with Variety Food Services at 25235 Hoover Road, Warren, Michigan, to provide food service management services to Evergreen local schools beginning on July 1st, 2023 and ending on June 30th, 2024, with 4 renewals of 1 year with mutual agreement between the district and Variety Food Services.
So moved. Support.
Questions or discussion?
Did we try their food?
Actually, eat the food, we did not. We compared the brochures from the 6 companies that provided.
So this was a bid, right? Okay.
It's the same way, like, go 1 year. We
1 year can be ended at the end. And they guaranteed us a break even for year 1 with a expected profit. Part of their proposal was free breakfast for every kid every day. conferences. I think it's a variety. Some days are hot, some will be cherry over no water.
All right, roll call?
Mr. Smith? Yes. Mr. Vaculett?
Yes.
Mr. Miller? Yes. Mrs. Keeper?
Yes, motion carries. We need a motion to authorize the superintendent to enter into a purchase and subscription service agreement, 36 months with Raptor Technologies LLC, 2900 North Loop West Suite 900, Houston, Texas, to purchase, install, and monitor Raptor Visitor Management System in all school buildings at the cost of $6,513. The expense will be paid from the Ohio Attorney General fiscal year 23 school safety grant.
So moved. Support.
Questions or discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Smith? Yes. Mr. Vaculett? Yes. Mr. Miller? Yes. Mrs. Keeper?
Yes, motion carries. We need a motion to approve a contract with Toledo Pediatric Speech Therapy LLC to provide speech and language services on behalf of Holy Trinity Catholic School students being served under IDEA. During the 2023-2024 school year, services will be provided if needed at the cost of $75 per hour, not to exceed $5,000. The expense to the district would pay from IDEA B funds.
Support.
Questions or discussion? Is this new this year? No. Roll call?
Mr. Smith? Yes. Mr. Vaculett? Yes. Mr. Miller? Yes. Mrs. Keeper?
Yes, motion carrying. We need a motion to authorize the purchase of a new K-12 math curriculum program with Ken Learning. The new program aligns better with Ohio's learning standards and includes textbooks, workbooks, web-based software for 5 years, teaching materials, initial and ongoing professional development for implementation at an approximate cost of $172,300.42.
So moved. Support.
Discussion, questions? Do we have an ETA on books? Like, do they have stock at the time?
So our representative said as soon as we get the requisition and purchase order into them, it would be July 1. The
Okay.
goal is to have them, it will be pending, there's a negotiation going on with transfer shipping.
Okay.
So,
Roll call?
Mr. Smith? Yes. Mr. Vaculett?
Yes.
Mr. Miller? Yes. Mrs. Keeper?
Yes, motion carries. We need a motion to reimburse Tanya Lumbreezer in the amount of $499.34, including sales tax for the items purchased for the senior picnic with funds from the class of 2023. This resolution supersedes Evergreen Board Policy 6320 and Ohio Revised Code 5705.41.
So moved. Support.
Questions or discussion?
How do we do this? How do we do this without, so if we break board policy and Ohio revised code, can we still vote yes? That's where I'm confused, because honestly, I want to make it right, but at the same time, I don't want to break any rules. I mean, if everyone agrees that proper steps were not followed, but at the same time, it's the senior class's money, and I don't think there was any ill will. So how do we make it right and not break Ohio revised code or our own board policy?
I don't know that answer. I don't know that. I don't know.
Donna, I don't think we can. I mean, that's why we have the PO process. I mean, as Mr. Lumbreezer acknowledged, that process exists for a very important reason. The code sections, I think, in the board policy were cited. I don't know how we circle that square. I mean, we had to get the approval before we had the requisition. I don't know how we can back into it in this instance and reimburse Ms. Lumbreezer.
To some extent, my question now is, why is it even on the agenda if we can't do it?
Because in our discussions, I had told her, I said, in the policy, so what happens to get a PO, the purchase request? It would have been done by, at that point, it was Mrs. Pinkelman with the senior class advisor. So she puts it into a database, which pops up and sends it to Mr. Rupert. And then from Mr. Rupert, it goes to Mr. Smola. From Mr. Smola, it goes to Mr. Carroll, and then to Mrs. Nagy. And if anywhere in that process, it was stopped, there's no PO.
I understand how the process works, but like I said, I'm trying to figure out how to make it right, because I don't think these parents spent money inadvertently. And I don't want them to be stuck for the money, quite honestly. I mean, the seniors got their stuff. It was a senior class fund.
May I ask a question? You're quoting the Ohio Revised Code and everything, but doesn't that apply to taxpayer dollars? This was just fundraising dollars that were done by the students,
For the
or
students.
for the students by the parents.
The problem is once it's in the school accounts, it doesn't matter how the money got there. We have certain hoops we have to jump through. It doesn't matter if it's anonymous donation, if it was taxpayer money, if it's grant money. It all has to fall through the same code. So that's, I mean, I understand, like if we left it in the after prom account or some other account, you could have done whatever you wanted with it and we couldn't have told you otherwise. But now that it's in the treasurer's hands here, we have to follow Ohio Revised Code. And I don't know any other way. I personally don't know any other way around it. I understand. We talked about it. We talked about it multiple times and I was under the assumption everything was gonna be okay until,
I'm just kind of at a loss of why is it on the agenda if we can't, if there's no choice in the way we can vote? If
well,
we can't vote yes, why is it on the
can.
agenda?
You can vote yes. Then what that does is it's going to, when we are audited, that's a red flag for our auditor that the board has approved against Ohio Revised Code, is what I've read. That's the 5704.1. So we can, and that's why we said it supersedes those, but then that's a red flag for auditing.
Now, obviously, I'm not voting tonight, so I would defer to my fellow board members, but I don't know that we want to create an audit issue and a tail liability issue on this. I think it also, the PO process exists for a very important reason. In this case, obviously, Ms. Lumbreezer's intentions, I don't think anybody's questioning. What happens next time, right? I mean, this is why we have this process in place to prevent these kind of things. What if somebody who didn't have the best intentions comes in and tries to get a reimbursement next time and there's not a PO? I think this creates a big issue for the board. You know, I'm very understanding and sympathetic to Ms. Lumbreezer, and obviously we appreciate the donation. We appreciate her family and her support, but I don't think we can fix this. And I don't think it's a situation where the board should fix it under these circumstances, given the amount of issues it would create. That's just my 2 cents.
I certainly don't like the precedent that it sets. I will agree with that wholeheartedly. I don't think that parents should just go out and without the authority or the approval to spend the money. With that being said, I don't think any of it was done with ill intentions. And I mean, it pains me that any of our parents who have put an immense amount of time and effort into making graduation, prom, etc., a great time, would be stuck for upwards of almost $1,000. I mean, at the end of the day, we're kind of responsible to our community as well. I mean, and I completely understand that the rules were not followed. I mean, I get that, but you know, 2 things can be true at once. The rules weren't followed and there was no intention of ill will. So.
And I agree with that 100%.
And at the same time, I don't want to get in trouble with the auditor either. I mean, that's not good either.
The problem is the reason that this happened is that, and I don't understand how the process works, but the parents were not even aware that they had the money until the last minute. If they were, they probably would have done things like paid for the yearbooks for the senior. They would have paid for graduation stuff. They weren't, or towards it. They weren't aware of it. And so this happened at the last minute.
Were they not aware of it because they didn't ask, or aware of it because someone was not telling them?
Because
I'm not sure.
they did not show up, they did not tell us that there was that extra money in there.
Did anyone ask though? I don't think they're necessarily obliged to tell everyone what's in the accounts all the time. Did anyone ask?
I asked Cindy several times and she did give me the amount, but she was also unaware of the amount that was previously there.
And that was about, what, a month and a half or so before graduation, if that,
My conversation with Cindy,
when you went into the treasurer's office and got the amounts.
I don't think I got the information from Brian. I don't remember. I remember having that conversation, but I don't even know how much money it is now. Like, I don't know where the totals are at.
So are we talking money that came from after prom that got put into the senior class.
Right,
You guys, no one was aware of the money that came in from after prom.
that was donated like through the last year, like usually each year just donates down, like
Right.
money keeps,
It just goes to the next class, right?
right, and whatever money that was donated, Cindy said she was unaware of it.
Great.
I know Mrs. Pinklin and I, we met with the senior class officers. Probably, it was second semester, we knew how much money was in there. Cindy had balanced everything out, what we had paid for graduation photographer, all of that, I think we're down to like $30 from what it started with. Went to the class officers, you know, looking at what they want to do with money, possible gifts, donations. They gave us ideas, we had a class meeting, all the seniors were invited. There was some, we had the ideas that the officers gave us, some added possibly donating playground for the elementary. We told them if you can get some prices, we can put that on the ballot. And then we actually sent out a Google form to all the seniors to vote on what they wanted to do with that money then. That was April. So we've been meeting with the class officers along the way.
Any further board discussion, questions?
I will say this. I'm gonna vote one way, but I'm gonna try to make it right. That's about all I'm gonna say.
I've been elected official for 22 years, and we have audits and these things happen. It's just not right because we try to do it for our kids.
But I understand that, but at the same time, you know, I don't want the district or our treasurer to get in trouble over it. So like I said, I'll try to make it right.
Ready for roll call? All right, Ms. Carroll?
Mr. Smith?
No.
Mr. Vaculik? No. Mr. Miller? No. Mrs. Kiefer?
No, motion denied. We need a motion to reimburse Darcy feedback in the amount of $972 for items purchased for the seniors with funds from the class of 2023. This resolution supersedes Evergreen Board Policy 6320 and Ohio Revised Code 5705.41.
So moved.
Support.
Questions or discussion?
Same as before.
Okay. Roll call?
Mr. Smith?
No.
Mr. Vaculik? No. Mr. Miller? No. Mrs. Kiefer?
No, motion denied. At this time, Mr. Small, will you take over discussions and information?
Yeah, information wise, got a couple of staff transfers. Andrea Hessen, intervention specialist at the elementary, is moving from 5th grade down to kindergarten. And Mrs. Ashley Ricker, who was the middle school secretary, is moving down to the high school as secretary. Additionally, we had our second semester bullying report for the past school year. We did have 3 incidents of bullying during the second semester. All of those took place at the high school and all were rectified by Mr. Ricker. Questions on the bullying report? Next item was our annual wellness report. Pillars of Health program provides personal health information, biometric screening to the staff who sign up to do it. They can go to the Activate clinics for that. Did 2 book reviews this past year. The wellness committee looked at healthy lunch options for the district staff. Didn't do anything drastically different than we had been doing. Going into next school year, Mr. Beck, who had been the wellness coordinator, has retired. Jenny Burkholder from the middle school will be taking it over, and we're looking at some new ideas for the wellness program. Questions?
Good. Mr. Rupert?
All right, good evening. I want to say the 2022-23 school year was a success. I just want to thank everyone, your guys' support. I'm in town, everyone. I've been at this for 11 years, and I can honestly say this was my best year out of 11. I had a ton of fun with the kids and staff. It's just been a breath of fresh air. So very grateful and thank you for the opportunity. Congratulations to the class of 2023. I think that graduation went off pretty well. At this time, almost all diplomas, transcripts have been finalized and picked up, so we are wrapping up the year. I want to note there are some handbook changes just to highlight. For next year, we are now going to be tracking tardies in every class period instead of just first period. So setting the expectation that students need to be on time. In the handbook, we also clarified attendance procedures and those guidelines, because I know there's some confusion throughout the year, what's excused, what's unexcused, which then goes into the next one because it affects our athletic and extracurricular activities. We did change it that all athletes and any students participating in extracurriculars, they have to be in the school by 11 a.m. It has to be an excuse, so it has to be a parent excuse or a doctor's note, but if they're there by 11, they can still participate. Reason it was a full day, but there were so many just loopholes and it made it very hard with the way we track attendance. So we made it more cut and dry right at 11 a.m. Again, they have to be excused. And then we're also adding enrichments are now on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And the last kind of major change is we're adding semester exams at the end of each semester. Those will take up 10% of a student's final grade for that semester. So 45% for each quarter and then 10% for the exams. And the last thing I have is the department chairs. We're going to be meeting with myself. Then we're going to talk just purely academics. This aligns with the district MTSS model, looking at what we can do to support kids, creating professional learning communities, and looking at supporting all students in the building. That's all I have unless there are questions.
So, thank you, Mr. Rupert. Mr. Burkholder.
Good afternoon, everybody. Kind of a summary of the end of the year for us at the middle school. The week of May 15th, we did have a student appreciation week this year, which included an early release day with games, a cookie buffet with 157 dozen cookies, picnic in the courtyard, and a dodgeball tournament that resulted in the low gangster household, our house, that's one of our row houses, being the champs, which included beating us teachers. So hats off to them. I do want to give a special thank you to everybody who donated. I know there's probably enough people in this room that donated the cookies for us. If you're not sure how many cookies 157 dozen is, just shy of 1,900 cookies. So our kids ate well that day. We also had our fourth quarter all-days breakfast. It was donated by the Country Charm. They gave us their world famous biscuits and gravy, and the kids were happy. The second last day of school, we had kind of a busy day. The 24th, we did our 6th grade field day, which was pretty much organized and put on by the entire 6th grade team. So thank you to them. 7th grade team went to the Mud Hens for the day. Thank you to Carrie Chamberlain. She organized pretty much that whole event for the 7th grade for us. And then the 8th grade field trip went to Wasion to the rollercade and to Rear Park for frisbee golf and a pizza picnic. Thank you to anybody who chaperoned that, including Mr. Samola and Dr. Swineford, who helped out that day as well as chaperones for us. Last day of school, we did two things. We did our Row Character Awards, which is always a highlight for each quarter, because those are really important. Thank you to Gleaners Insurance, Honey Bear, Mayberry Ice Cream, Sky Zone, Wasion Rollercade, and Sportsway of Toledo. All of them made donations to us as far as being able to give the kids gifts and prizes for earning an award. And then we also had our student council end of the year dance. That was a blast for the kids. So thank you to Melanie Yoder and Jenny Burkholder. They organized that event for us. I'd like to recognize the Evergreen Middle School Educator of the Year Award. It was Melanie Yoder this year, and Melanie exemplifies everything I would expect to see in a teacher. She really does act as a leader in our building in a number of different ways. So I want to recognize her because she's been a face in our district for a long time, but sometimes you end up forgetting, kind of have high standards for those people who did a good job for such a long time. And she was a breath of fresh air for me this year. To kind of lead on to that, this was the end of my first year as administrator of the building. And I would like to thank everybody who helped me have an amazing first year. Evergreen Middle School experience. I'll be honest with you, I can only speak for myself, but I was blown away by the successful year that we had. The kids were great, but the staff was amazing to work with. We have some amazing people in our district, so I hope they recognize that and they understand that. I'd like to thank the community members, the local businesses, MVP club, they've been amazing as well, that we get to actually have them in our building this year. I'm pretty sure the high school got to be jealous now, that they don't have them yet. I thank the board members for all the support throughout the year. I appreciate all that. Mainly because Brady said something I'll kind of throw in real quick. Changes in our handbook is worth noting. The only really big one in the middle schools next year is gonna be, we have a new no cell phone policy. We're essentially gonna eliminate cell phones from the beginning of the day to the end of the day. They can have them on their persons when they come to the building or for athletics or whatever after school. But throughout our school day, we're just not gonna have cell phones as part of the experience anymore. We believe it's better not to have them than to have them throughout our day. So, any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Berkowitz.
Yep.
Mrs. Brown.
Good evening, everyone. First, I want to start off by saying, thank you so much for allowing me to serve the Evergreen community. After year 32, I'm gonna follow up with what Brady said. This was my best year ever. It's amazing to be here. And the elementary is a very beautiful place to be. So excited for next year. So we're going to all of you again. Also want to welcome all of our new staff to our building. We have Ms. Danielle Boger, Mrs. Hansel, Mr. Bailey, Mr. Polachek, Mr. Yutzi, and Mrs. Seeger. We are very, very excited to have all of you as part of our team, and we can't wait to get started. Also, we had a great Right to Read week that was celebrated May 15th, the week of May 15th. The entire week was packed full of different things to do. Started off with Mrs. Leffler. She made team shirts for every staff member, which was amazing. We had our third grade team jump in and plan all the activities for the week, and then followed up with Mrs. Ziegler, who then went on to create an amazing field day for our students. It was an awesome week. And with that, we did a meet the team day instead of meet the teacher day, because we weren't sure of some of our staff members. We wanted to make sure that the students knew who they may have for the following year. So our teachers got up in front of each grade level, introduced themselves, and talked about some of the things that they'll be doing for next year. So it was great for the kids to be able to see who their new teachers could be. We also held a retirement party / luncheon for Mr. Beck, Mrs. Johnson, and Mrs. Snyder. Again, all put together by staff members in our building. It was amazing. There were so many people that attended within the building and also outside of the building. We had to bring in more chairs, more tables. It was amazing. Also, fifth grade graduation. Our fifth grade team just took the reins and just showed me the way, showed us exactly what they've done for years past. It was an amazing celebration, and the number of families that came was awesome to see. The stands were packed, and it was great, a great send off for our fifth graders. So we wish all of our fifth graders lots of love transitioning to the middle school. Also, Mrs. Kermane did an awesome, I guess, fundraising event. It was called Lemonade Wars, where the students made 2 different types of lemonade. The money that was taken in from those sales were all donated to Nature's Nursery, and then they also came in and did a presentation for our students to show how they protect animals within our environment. So it was a really good learning lesson for our students. And finally, I feel like I don't want to just say our test scores were amazing. I want to point out each individual grade, and not just each grade that tests. This is from the ground up. And our entire staff, I want them to take ownership for what took place in our building this year, because I have never, ever seen scores like this in anywhere I've been in 32 years. Third grade, English language arts. We were in the top 2 schools scoring at 82% within the 23 schools that reported out. Fourth grade, English language arts. We were in the top 8 schools scoring at 71%. Fifth grade, English language arts, we were in the top 2 schools scoring at 93%. Third grade math, within the top 3 schools scoring at 88%. Fourth grade math, we were in the top 6 schools scoring at 91%. Fifth grade math, in the top 2 schools scoring at 92%. Fifth grade science, we were in the top 3 schools scoring at 88%. You don't see this everywhere. Our teachers work their tails off, and you all are amazing. I have never worked at a place like this with so many hard workers, and they jump in anytime you need them. I can attribute the test scores to our teachers being laser focused, having a consistent plan, and providing in-depth instruction. And not only do they do that, but they create fun while they're doing it, not only in their classroom, but in the lessons that they teach. And all I have to say is, way to go. We killed it, so awesome job. Currently, right now, I'm working on scheduling room assignments and getting things ready and in place for the 23-24 school year. And while I need a little bit of a break to recharge, I am ready for another exciting school year. So thank you again for letting me serve this community. I am blessed.
Thank you, Mrs. Brown. Thank you. Mr. Miller.
All right, today they finished up repairing the walls and carpet from the flood in the board office and tech center and district offices. We'll be putting the final piece of the furniture back together tomorrow, as well as finishing up all the baseboard that was not done because the drywall needed to be finished. Lake Tech is here installing 911 form for us. They started last week. They plan on being here 3 weeks running wire and putting the strobes and horns up. Middle of July will be our big detectors will be coming in, and they'll start running those, installing those for us. Jason and Joe cleaned up the sucker trees, or a bunch of the sucker trees out back by the Evergreen pond. It was looking overgrown and shoddy, so we kind of changed that. We got that cleaned up. They started working on the big pond out front. Those rings and stuff like that, they put on hold. All 3 buildings, all the custodians are working hard, getting buildings ready for next school year. They're all about halfway done with the buildings with waxing and cleaning the floors. So we should be on track to be ready to go hopefully by August 1st, so that when principals and staff come back, they can walk wherever they need to go. We did not, spray the fields, grounds this year, this spring, because of too many events going on, with EY out on the baseball, softball fields. There wasn't a good Saturday or Sunday that we could get out there and spray them. So hopefully this fall we'll get those in, or we'll get those in this fall, and with the drought, we've been watering with the fields and everything, once a week, just to keep moisture in the ground, just to try to keep from burning out. They've done some spraying around the buildings, getting weeds taken care of. The high school, middle school complex is pretty much done. They have some stuff to do out the elementary yet for spraying wise, but they're getting that wrapped up. And you're getting the river rock and mulch for the playgrounds and flower beds down the elementary.
I have a question.
Yes.
The sidewalk in the high school, when you
Yes,
walk,
we're gonna patch that.
okay,
So,
We gotta patch all the holes that's been in. the-
yes, yep.
We doing a pavement repair?
We are doing resealing everything that's paved this year, or last year that was repaved, get that sealed, that took up most of my budget. So,
There's a bad spot. I got cold patch that didn't last long
yes,
down there.
so we'll cold patch it and next year it'll be sealed.
how's that area at the elementary? I haven't been down there in a while.
It did open back up, so we will patch it again and.
Going too long. Let's just make sure we get all the holes in front of the gym, all
Yes.
that,
Yep. So,
just a trip hazard for
yeah,
the older people.
Yep.
Or anyone.
I said the older people, I almost bet the girls going to softball.
I thought you were talking about me when you said older. I mean, it's just walls we may have to do.
Okay,
anything else?
any question? All right, Mr. Small.
Yes, just to dovetail off of that, does the board want to do a summer walkthrough? We've done it in the past in June. If you want to look at July or August and connect it, we usually do a special board meeting in advance of the regular meeting where we tour the campus.
July works for me. Does that work for you guys?
The 17th, so I'll plan to we'll have a special meeting. In the past, we started at 4 and did the campus.
Zach, does July 17th work for your walkthrough?
You got a meeting that night?
Yeah, sorry, I had to put my phone in. Yeah, that should work for me.
Okay. All right, so we'll schedule that for the 17th at 4.
Yes. If that works for you, we'll do 4:30.
I can
We've
be
done
here.
4 in the past. That gives us a little cushion in between to get.
I can be here at 4. Everybody else, good 4 or is 4:30 better? Zach at 4, okay?
Yeah, 4's fine.
Okay.
I will plan for that. And we've got a lot of great people joining the district for next school year. We will have an orientation in August where they come in and learn about the district and procedures and everything they need to know. We're gonna change that up a little bit this year to try and connect them better with the community, do a little bit of a tour of the district and see just how expansive we are in the amount of ground we've covered. So looking forward to that. We still have a couple positions we're still working to fill. Gifted education teacher, and with Mrs. Przgolski's retirement, we will now be looking for an art teacher, so we'll be actively pursuing an art teacher starting tomorrow morning. Other than that, all of the teaching positions are filled.
For your teacher orientation, do you have a plan on how you are going to maneuver town? Cause I will volunteer if you need.
We were gonna take a bus.
Oh,
Get
okay.
real experience.
Okay. Maybe we'll go on if you guys are lucky. Okay.
But you're welcome to come. I know you come to the orientation every year, so I will get you the date. I know we've got it set. I just can't think of it offhand. Get a bus ride this year if you'd like.
Great. All right, anything else that's small?
No, Mr. Miller covered most of it with facilities updates, so.
Okay. Any board members with questions or concerns? Zach, do you have anything?
Nothing for me, Nora.
Okay. All right, then at this time, I need a motion for the members of the Evergreen Local Board of Education, Superintendent, Treasurer, and invited guests to go into executive session for the following reasons: to consider the employment of public employees, Ohio Revised Code 121.22, G-1. All right, roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Spatula?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mrs. Keeper?
Yes, motion carries. There'll be no action after the executive session, so the meeting's over.